Tom, thanks for jumping on to talk to us. As soon as I saw the launch of the Four Clubs, One Goal social media campaign last month, I knew this is something that I'd want to discuss on the podcast. As we both know, football stretches far beyond what happens on the pitch. And this is the sort of thing that deserves not only praise for coordinating, but a platform to continue to spread the message. So, with your past history at Marine and your current position at Tranmere, I didn't think there'd be someone better placed to talk about this than you. So, tell me what it's all about.
Yeah, so it's great to be back on as well. Yeah, so it's an initiative that's been going on for some time now. I've only just taken the media lead in the last couple of months. So it was obviously a partnership between Everton, Liverpool, Marine, and Tranmere, with Crime Stoppers against crime on Merseyside. So it's with funding from Merseyside Police that they've kindly given to all four clubs to deliver diversionary football sessions and multi-sport sessions across Merseyside to give young people a positive alternative to engaging in what could be crime. But this is the four clubs working together, which has never been done by anywhere else in the country in terms of four football clubs coming together for this purpose, to unite against crime and to educate young children against the dangers of real things that they could be genuinely involved in the next few years of their lives, like gangs, county lines, drug trafficking, things like that, and kind of giving them real experience from like lived experience speakers of people who've, so in some cases, recently gone through it in terms of being involved and not being able to get out of it. And these people talk to them about how to avoid it in the first place, which is crucial because we're getting these kids in for the events from year 7 when they're very young, they're fresh to secondary school, and then they maybe haven't been exposed to those dangers yet, but they could well be in the next few years. So to get them at that age and to educate them is hopefully preventative to kind of like, so they're aware of the signs and they don't get involved in what a lot of kids on Merseyside do get involved in. Obviously, Liverpool being one of the major drug trafficking cities in the UK, so it's massive for four football clubs, obviously with the stature of football on Merseyside as well, to come together in this way. It's not been done before, and it's massive. So to take the media lead on the project, I'm just privileged that like it's not like I've coordinated this program. I've literally just come in as obviously I work for Tranmere. I do a little bit on the side for Marine as well. I work for 2 of the clubs already, so it's kind of like it just felt natural for me to step into that and just take the lead, because Everton and Liverpool, they have so much going on in the community. They don't often get media to every community initiative that they do, whereas I try and get to most things that Tranmere do if I can. And I thought I was at all the events anyway, so it felt only natural for me to take the lead on something for 2 clubs I'm already working for, as well as Everton, which is my club, and Liverpool, which is obviously one of the biggest clubs as well. So it was only natural for me to step into that. And it's just been a privilege to kind of lead on the media for something so positive.
Yeah, 100%. And what I want to draw attention to was the tournament that took place at Marine. I saw a feature on BBC Northwest Tonight highlighting the tournament that took place, but not just the tournament itself, the speakers that you had in to give the presentations to the kids. And the beauty of programs such as these, I think it highlights exactly how the sport can be used as a vehicle to get through to the younger generation. It's very easy to sit them down in assembly and force them to sit through a presentation or a speaker, but by involving football in the matter, I think it certainly captivates them. So talk us through the tournament at Marine. How did they pan out, and if it met your expectations?
Yeah, so this is I think the 3rd event that we've done all at Marine, because the facility at Marine is just fantastic for hosting it. Obviously, with the money that's gone into it since the FA Cup run, which we spoke about on previous podcasts, they've transformed the place. It's such a good facility, and it's perfect for what we wanted to do for the event. We changed up the running of the day a little bit for this one because it was poor weather conditions. We had the speakers all in the morning and the football all in the afternoon, whereas in the past we've mixed it up a little bit, so it'd be like a little bit of football in the morning and then a speaker and a workshop on things like managing time critical bleeding, and all the educational workshops. But for this one, it was all of the speakers together in the morning and all the kids listening to, I think it was 5 speakers with lived experience of crime and getting into it and how to get out of it. And the kids were captivated by it. It was a couple of hours, and for me at that age, that would have been tough to keep my attention for that long amount of time, for that length of time. Sorry, but these kids were captivated by the speakers because it was real. Like there was Kieran Platt who spoke. He's I think he's still 20 years old, so he's only just recently got out of the terrible things he was involved in terms of drugs and gangs, and he's able to give that first-hand experience from recent, and it's so relatable for the kids because he's close to their age. So you kind of think that could be me kind of thing. So
yeah,
it's good we can speak maturely at that age, but from a football point of view as well, as Michael Branch, who used to play for Everton, who gave his story as well about how his football career went downhill and then he got involved in drug trafficking, and he was actually arrested and he was inside a police van which went past Goodison Park, and he was looking at the badge on the wall of Goodison Park thinking, I used to play for this club and now I'm in the back of a police van looking at the badge and what's happened. And that's where it kind of where he realised that he needed to get out of it and turn his life around, which he has. And it's this first-hand experience that the kids were able to listen and to learn from, which was massive. So they had these excellent motivational first-hand experience speakers in the morning, and then the football in the afternoon, which was great to see on the eve of the Merseyside derby as well, which is kind of the selling point why we got BBC North West Tonight down, which was great, obviously, for the exposure for the project. But that was kind of the selling point because obviously these clubs were coming together on the eve of the Merseyside derby, which was massive. So we had the football in the afternoon. Liverpool came out on top in the lads tournament, which isn't surprising, I suppose. But no, it was great. The girls did our girls did really well as well, coming third place for Tranmere, and it was a really good day, and the kids took a lot from it. And even though they were sat there for 2.5-3 hours, they were literally none of them were regularly. They were literally just taken in by these speakers, and hopefully hit on with them, and will they'll remember it going into the teenage years where they might be exposed to some dangers.
What were the kids' reactions to the speakers themselves?
A lot of them were shocked, but I think the main reaction was sympathy and kind of realizing what these people have gone through, and they were full of questions as well. I know assemblies I've been in, it comes to the end and the speaker will be like, have you got any questions? And everyone will keep their heads down because they want to go for lunch or go for a drink or whatever, like on the break. But all of these people were asking loads of questions because they were genuinely interested in what they'd had to say and how they got out of what they got themselves involved in. And the kids were genuinely engaged in what was going on and what had to be said. And so there were some excellent questions as well as the talks from the speakers. So they were really, really engaged by what was said.
Good. That's really good to hear, and indicative that you created a positive environment for them to feel comfortable enough to want to ask questions and find out more. What I found interesting, particularly from this initiative, and as you've highlighted, what makes it so unique is the fact that it has these 4 institutions in the local area coming together who traditionally are, particularly at Everton and Liverpool, are competitors in the same workplace. I know that dynamic doesn't quite work the same from a charitable perspective, but I imagine that would have needed a lot of cross networking and organisation between large groups of people. So, how did you find coming together with the other club community organisations?
Yeah, so I suppose they made the links before I got involved in the project, so I'm not sure in terms of the actual initial foundations of the project, but it's been pretty much led by someone called Tony Cosgrove from Liverpool FC Foundation, and key figures from all of the club community organisations, to be honest. Andrew Foster from Everton in the community, Graham Gardner from Marine in the community, and Tom Rowlands from Tommy Rovers in the community as well have pretty much led the project from their organisations and come together because they're linked, I suppose, by Crime Stoppers and by Merseyside Police. Merseyside Police are the ones who provided the funding for much of the project, because it's not just about the events. These clubs are going into schools every week or doing after school sessions to engage children, and into schools to do workshops and informing them on crime as well in the schools, and they're doing half-term sessions to keep people off the streets essentially, and engaging in negative behaviours. So it's kind of it's an effort that goes on not just in this four clubs one goal events at Marine, but across the year in general. So it's kind of work that all four clubs or charitable organisations were doing. So in terms of linking that into each other, it wasn't difficult because it kind of fit together anyway, because they were all doing similar work. So that just linked together. And there's been talk of working together on different things, like all of the clubs deliver Premier League kicks, football sessions with funding from the Premier League, and the scope to work together on those projects. So we have these regular meetings between the four clubs on how we can expand the project past what we're doing at the moment, and there's been some really positive ideas on how we can expand that as well. So I'm not, as I say, I wasn't there for the actual foundations of it, but I've seen how it developed and how it could develop even more for the future, because it's a fantastic project, which I thought wasn't getting enough coverage, which is where I stepped in with the media coverage. But for these four clubs to be working together, and for that not to have been done before, I think was amazing. And I said, for an example, you've got these massive football clubs in London, and they've not done something like this. So for us to do this on Merseyside needs to be shouted about. That's why I got involved, and that's the point that I got involved in. And it seems to be growing even more than what it is currently.
Certainly, and hence why I believe it deserves the platform. Just, I'll ask you about how you felt the media coverage as a whole went just after this. But as you say, you may have not been there for the foundation of the initiative and the project itself. But in terms of you working for Tranmere, collaborating with people from Everton, from Liverpool, how did that process go? Did you feel like the cooperation was where it needed to be? Did it all run smoothly?
Definitely, yeah. I think everyone working on the project was willing to realise the potential of it and realise the good work of it, and the power of all four clubs coming together. So the communication has been fantastic, and everyone gets back to each other well, and we would organise regular meetings, and those meetings are really productive as well, and everyone's fully on board, engaged in the project, and it wouldn't be one of those things that gets put on the back burner because everyone involved is so passionate about it, really. So it's been smooth in terms of the communication and getting things organised, because people just know to get things done. Like on the project at the meeting, to make sure that these things we're talking about will be in action, and we'll get in touch and follow it up with people and realize and make sure that things were getting done and things were moving, and basically didn't need to chase anyone up because everyone's on it and everyone cares about the project and everyone's getting what they need to do done. So it's been really smooth between all four clubs.
That's fantastic. And you hear nothing but good things, as I say, from the likes of Everton and the community, the LFC Foundation, everyone who have worked for those organisations that I've met have all been really great people. So that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And as far as your role itself, providing the media coverage, of the initiative. When you reflect on that now, how do you think that went?
Of the most recent event, really well, especially getting BBC Northwest Tonight there. That was a big one because at the second event that I went to before I took the media lead, the only media presence we had there was Radio City, and they provided some really good coverage. But I think to get that scene as well, to get that visual aspect of it, because you're seeing these red and blue shirts with the purple four clubs one goal shirts that Marine wear, and the Tranmere colours as well, all coming together. And I think visually it's quite powerful, especially when you get everyone together in one stand for one photo or one on one pitch playing the game. I think that needs to be seen as well as heard. So it was about getting the TV cameras down as well to cover the project. And I think by doing it on the eve of the Merseyside derby, we were able to bring BBC Northwest Tonight down, and their coverage of it was great. And yeah, I think in terms of taking the lead on it, that was big to get them down. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how it's gone. I set up an Instagram page because I thought that would be the most effective social media platform in terms of the demographic we were looking at, in terms of getting the children taking part to follow, and the parents as well to look at the photos, and essentially the target demographic that the project as a whole is trying to reach in terms of teenagers, and stopping them from being involved in crime. Because I thought anyway that Instagram would be the most effective for that, which is why I set up the Instagram page, and it might develop to other social media platforms as we move along with the project as well. But that's taken up a really good following, and I'm proud to say I started that. And we're past 100 followers now, and we're always growing. And it's been really positive. So I'm proud of my involvement in so far, but more proud of what the others have done to set it up to get to this point.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of you as well, man. As far as the vision for the project, I know it's an annual thing at this point, but has there been any talk of what you hope for it to be in the future?
Yeah, there's been talks, as I say, in terms of working together on things like the Premier League Kicks projects, and there could be more as well. There were several ideas mentioned in terms of working together, because essentially there's a lot of things that all four clubs do on their own, that they all do the same projects anyway, or similar projects. So the scope to work together is massive in terms of getting those projects all together, because there's not just Premier League kicks. There's a lot of things that we all do to our own communities, or working together, which Everton and Liverpool do to an extent already, because sometimes they go into the same schools, and Liverpool especially coming over to the Wirral as well and going into the same schools as Tranmere sometimes. So we have to work together because we're kind of on each other's, I wouldn't say patch, but in the same region. So we've got to work together. So yeah, it's kind of it works together well.
Good. I'm glad to hear, mate. And I know there's several ambassadors for the project, like David Fairclough, Ian Snowden, and Chris Kirkland as well. But I wanted to draw attention to a quote that I came across from Tranmere manager Nigel Atkins. If I just get the tab up and read this quote, which I think really encapsulates the sentiment of why projects like this should be run, but not just that. Football as a whole, football has a soft power that brings communities together, that brings people together, that especially for younger people as well, it can captivate them, and it gives them a place to be, a place to go, people to socialize with. But I'll read this quote from Nigel Atkins now. It's encouraging to see the four clubs, Tranmere with Everton, Liverpool and Marine, collaborating for good in this way, and to educate children about the signs of crime at an age where they can use the skills and experience they've gained as they go into their teenage years. This is a project which shows the power of the sport as a vehicle for societal change, and the clubs can unite, work together, and bring that change. Everything about that, mate, I think is absolutely spot on. And I wanted to ask you about this because since coming into Tranmere, it seems like he's been a real positive force around the club, especially for you in a transitional point in your career, switching over from working on the community operations side of things to now being a media officer and the football and operations side of things. What's it been like to work with Nigel Adkins?
Yeah, it's fantastic because he is so passionate about the community initiatives as well as the football, and he'll always make time for what's going on. He recently attended the Wirral Sports Awards off his own back, just in his own time, and so many different things. He's always interested in what's going on. Before we'll go into a press conference, for example, on a Thursday, he'll be asking what's going on around the club in terms of what we're doing, and he's always interested in that kind of thing. And he's been fantastic to work with and to learn from. I suppose he's an established Premier League manager, and he's obviously managing Tranmere Rovers at the minute. And it's just for myself as a young media officer to learn from how he works is invaluable. I think at this stage of my personal career development, to learn from him is amazing, especially his attitude towards things, his positivity, and how much he cares about the club, but also its community output and what's going on. And he pays so much attention to it. Like, even before he was appointed manager in his role as technical director, which was initially a couple of days a week, he was coming up, living down south. He was traveling up himself to work part-time with the club. And he was every time he comes to the stadium, whether it was just to pop in and see the secretary, he'd always make time to go into every single office and speak to the people and ask what's going on, ask how they're getting on, what the challenges are, how they deal with those challenges, and just have a chat with them as well. And that was out of the good of his own heart, that he thinks that's only right, and he doesn't even think of that as going out of his way. When I've spoken to him about it, doing it, he just thinks of that as completely normal. And for someone to come in and do that and really care about everything that's going on with the club is amazing. So, and obviously the quote that you've just read out as well, it shows he cares and his passion for projects like that in the community, and he really does. And he's right, because football is so powerful in terms of it's got so many eyes on it, and it's got the attention of Premier League football has the attention of the world. So for clubs, even at like Tranmere's level, it's got thousands of people watching. So for the four clubs to come together, it's so powerful, because you're going to get so much attention, and you can garner that in a positive way. And yeah, I think he sums up perfectly, as you say, in terms of the power of the project and the power of the sport to deliver for good, and how good this project is in that way. But no, for me, he's been amazing to learn from and to work with. And obviously, he's only Tranmere manager on an interim period as it stands. But as much time as we can get with this man, it's amazing, because he's fantastic to work with.
Even the little things, as you say, like him going into each and every office and inquiring about what goes on, the challenges that different people face, is the hallmark of someone rooted with the right values and the right upbringing and all that sort of stuff. And I say that understanding that he does, again, he just captured my attention as soon as I saw the appointment. And again, the first interview with him, it's just a positive person that gives off the right energy, which you would want from a football manager, obviously for the football side of things, but as you say, tying into the wider and broader responsibilities, is, you are ultimately in many ways the face of that football club, and someone that people will associate with that football club. So the fact that he is across bases and so passionate about the community initiatives and programs as well, it is very hopeful, and shows the football does have its good guys. One of the things I wanted to ask, especially for you going through this transition from a community media officer to just a media officer for the football club, is what routing, if any, did that give you in the transition? Was there any skill sets, any experiences that helped you transition to becoming a media officer, which I mean, God, I've known you long enough now to know that you could do a media officer job with your eyes closed. But that transition in particular, how did it help you?
To be fair, my current role as media officer is 3 days a week with the community and 2 days a week with the club. So I'm still firmly rooted in community, and that makes up the bulk of my work currently, which I'm more than happy with, because we have the other media officer, Alex Bullions, who's come in and done brilliant, and he's full time on the club side of things. So I kind of help him out with match days and with press conferences and things on a Thursday as well. So I do a bit of both, but to be rooted in community has definitely helped me in terms of working with so many people as well, and kind of being involved in the outreach of the club and working with big groups of people in terms of helping me confidence as well, essentially, and understanding the wider media of a club rather than just the football and what's going on the pitch. And that's helped me massively. And going into the media side, the club side of things as well, knowing how important community is and can be to a football club is fantastic to have foot in both camps, so to speak, but not really, because it's the same camp. It kind of helps me in terms of doing both and realizing how important community work is to the club, and doing both has definitely made me realize that. But as you know, I've done the media role for Widnes, Vikings, and for Marine in the past, so I know what that entails. Not a club as big as Tranmere Rovers as where I am now, but I think doing the community stuff was kind of full time anyway. Made me got me ready for the football side of things as well. So now doing both, and I think I've got the right balance between doing both. It's set me up well, definitely.
Most definitely. Something that you said that I want to pick up on there. The confidence, developing the confidence to make the decisions, autonomous decisions, and trust in your own judgment. The skill set can all be well and good and can be there, but from my own experience, I would argue the confidence is one of, if not the biggest and important factors in your ability to perform a job role. Like, you may well have these plans and designs in your head and how you'd execute X, Y, and Z, certain social campaigns, whatever projects you're assigned to. But in the moment, or for example, covering things live, to trusting your own judgment and having the confidence to perform those to the highest level, I would say it is absolutely huge. So in terms of the development of your own confidence as your career is going on, how far would you agree with that?
Massively, yeah. It's all of it affects everything,
Yeah.
And especially when you have a certain extent of creative freedom, you have to be confident to use that creative freedom effectively. And I think coming into the community role at Tranmere, I was coming on the back of tough time with this, where my confidence was really at probably an all-time low in terms of my career. I was struggling for confidence at the end at Widnes. It was really tough. And doing that community role as I say has helped me build it up and then get ready for another role on the club side of things as well. But yeah, it's massive, and even from a career point of view, obviously it's massive from a creative freedom point of view, but even in terms of speaking to a group as well, like even doing the community work, I've had to speak to 60 kids at once, which I would never have seen myself doing in the past, never been confident enough to do that, to speak to a group of kids, just myself, whereas now you have to, so you just do it, for example, at a school visit and things like that. And that it's helped me in that way. But yeah, in terms of confidence for creative freedom, it's massive, and it underlines everything you do. And if you don't have the confidence to do to do things you can't do your job properly, essentially. So as you say, it's massive. It's a huge part, and I'm glad I was able to build that up with community to now be able to do this hybrid role as effectively as it can be, and more effectively than I would have been able to if I would have walked straight into it from Widnes.
It sounds that way. I mean, not to keep you forever, and we will look at wrapping it up now, but I want to pick your brain a little bit about that transitional period from Widnes to the community role within Tranmere. Because as you say, you know, if you're leaving a role with low confidence, and you've gone into a role which has ultimately built your confidence back up to a level where, as you say, you're doing things that you wouldn't envisage yourself doing previously. I'm trying to think of all the different things in my head that would attribute to the building blocks to helping that confidence develop. And I'm thinking the people that you surround yourself with, or the people that you're working with, are a huge factor. The environment that you're in is a huge factor. I think the work that you're given needs to, obviously you've got to push the boat, and you've got to step outside your comfort zone. That's a given in life, not just in your career, but there also needs to be a sort of inner desire to want to do the best you can with the work that you've got. So just as far as your own personal experience with redeveloping that confidence, what are the factors that you say has helped develop it to the point that it is now?
Yeah, you're spot on. You said exactly what I was thinking in terms of the people around you, definitely. And the people made it easy for me on the community side and made it manageable for me, which was the biggest thing, I think, in terms of workload. As you say, you want to do what you're doing to the best level you can do, and rather than juggling plates, which I felt like I was doing it Widnes at times in terms of covering as many things as I could and doing them to not the level that I know I wasn't the best. At times. So coming in and that workload being manageable again. There was sometimes, because I like to work quite quickly, but there was sometimes when I was wanting to do more, but I knew I had the time to focus on what I was doing properly, and just do it as best as I can, rather than just juggling plates and getting something done just to say it's done. Actually taking time on things and doing them to the best level you can do. And I think that was massive in terms of just being full-time community and focusing on what I had to focus on at that time. Definitely building that confidence up. So as you say, people around you are massive. The support, the time you have as well to do things. If you have more time, you can obviously focus on things more. Are two massive factors. So definitely those two helped me build up again. And I think they're the two biggest things in terms of building back up confidence, or they were for me anyway.
Definitely, man. Well, you know full well, because I do give you your flowers, man. I make sure to tell you that I'm so pleased, because I think essentially this is me just talking to me mate now. We started in near enough the same boat, you know. We had this sort of vision of what we wanted to be. I know you've always had aspirations of working on the club side of things, which I still do, but I just understand, like you're saying there, about the timing of things. And like I've learned in life in general, timings work out when timings work out, don't they? So it may be something I explore at some point in my career, which I've got full belief that I think I can do. But I imagine that's just further down the road with what I'm doing at the minute. But on a personal note, it's been so pleasing to see this career development of yours, and I know it's only going to get bigger and better. So well done, mate.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. I really appreciate that. And the same to you. I speak to, obviously, I deal with like people from Radio Merseyside, quite a lot of BBC Radio Merseyside, and it were all like really good people. And I always speak to them about their time working with you as well. And that kind of how proud they are, and I am as well, of you going on to work for national organisations like ITV and like TNT and international, if we're talking that level, which is amazing. So they all kind of share the same sentiment whenever whoever I speak to, because I always like to name drop you and say like Max is my mate kind of thing, you know what I mean? And they all say along the lines of well, look at him now kind of thing. So yeah, completely share the sentiment. I'm proud of you as well.
Thanks, man. Look at him now. Nah, I haven't reached anywhere near the level that I want to yet, mate. But it's nice to hear that people are saying that about me. Anyway, I thought I'd jump on and record this podcast with me because it's a project and a person that deserves the platform, and I'm glad that we've covered it today. I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks to get a film director onto the podcast, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thanks, everyone.